Dude, what an insane quote to start with, by the way. What the f is this quote? They breed rapidly.
You know, because I have seen many of the human rights defenders, you know, supporting the killing of the Rohingya people.
The military is accused of killing thousands of Rohingya, committing widespread rape, and burning down entire villages.
I have never seen a population so discriminated in the world.
Unfortunately, there seems to be little sympathy, let alone empathy, for the Rohingya people in Myanmar.
An exodus saw boatloads of Rohingya stranded at sea in South Asia.
By the way, for the record, there's an idea that people saying Buddhism is the most peaceful religion. There are two countries that immediately throw that out of the gate, that completely demolish that idea. One is Myanmar, as we're watching, and the other is Sri Lanka. Those are the two countries that immediately demolish this idea that Buddhism is this peaceful religion. It's not. Any religion can be used for violence. Any religion can be used for peace. It does not matter. Myanmar has directly taken notes from Sri Lanka. Chad Rohingya, who's a chatter of mine, who's a community member, has often said that Buddhist schools in Myanmar, they teach the story of King Duttagamanu. So the story of King Duttagamanu is the story of a Sinhalese. I mean, the Sinhalese didn't exist at this point in time. They were just, you know, they had a different name or whatever. Right? They were just the followers of King Vijaya, Prince Vijaya. They were the Prince Vijaya lineage or whatever. The concept of Sinhalese didn't exist at this point in time. So the Chola Empire had taken them over, right? The Chola Empire had taken the island over at like 2,500 years ago or something, right? And it was under this king called Yalalan. And Yalalan was then driven out by King Duttagamanu. And King Duttagamanu slaughtered Tamils, like hundreds of thousands of Tamils. That's the story, right? Whether it's true or not doesn't matter. That's the story, because the veracity wouldn't change anything. The point is that this story is being used in Sri Lanka for nationalistic purposes to occupy and genocide the Tamils. But in Myanmar, that story is actually perpetuated among Buddhist scholars and Buddhist schools. It's actually taught in Myanmar. And the thing in Myanmar is that they glorify King Duttagamanu's basic genocide of the Tamils, and they say they need to do that to the Rohingya people. It only has 297 views. I think this is a huge shame. I need you guys to share this video with everyone you know. It's done by a good friend of mine, a comrade of mine, Yasminullah. You know Debbie? I don't know Debbie. I know Yasminullah, who is featured in this video. We already let the world know that there is no Rohingya in Myanmar. General Min Aung Hlaing Min Hong flying. I'm assuming this guy is this the guy that stripped Rohingya people of their citizenship decades ago? Is that it?
Don't think there's ethnic cleansing going on.
Her? Oh, I know who she is. Aung San Suu Kyi. F you. Demon mother. Aung San Suu Kyi. F you. Liberal darling of the West. He is the current head of the junta government. I'm not sure about him before. Oh, he's the current government now. I think I'm thinking of Tan Shui, maybe.
Don't think there's ethnic cleansing going on. It's a matter of people on different sides of a divide.
Get the f out of here with that bull.
Divide.
Why?
They never existed in the past, present, nor will they ever exist in this country. This is straight genocide. Yes, Aung San Suu Kyi is the liberal darling of the West that won a Nobel Peace Prize. Many of the pogroms that happened recent-ishly in Myanmar against the Rohingya happened under her watch. So f her. Didn't Aung San Suu Kyi spend all of her time in house arrest and never had any power? Military was always in power? Yes. But guess what? The moment she got let out and she became prime minister, she immediately sided with the military against the Rohingya again. She literally signed off the fences in the militarization of the genocide as well. Western puppet genocide air piece of shit. They come here illegally and attack our country.
And these hate basically became the basis and the foundation of all kinds of violent crimes and mass atrocity against us.
More than 700,000 Rohingya fled from Western Myanmar's Rakhine state. Used to be called Arakan State. That's the real name of that state. Arakan State, following a bloody crackdown against members of their stateless Muslim minority group against August 2017. First off, Rohingya are not the only Muslim minority group. There's a bunch of other Muslim minority groups in Myanmar, which threw Rohingya people under the bus for a little bit to save their own asses. But then eventually the anti-Rohingya, anti-Muslim sentiment was so much that it actually spilled over against these other non-Rohingya Muslim minority groups.
I started my trip on 26 October on the boat, and there are 240 people with me in the boat. I can save my life, but there are so many babies and so many children in the boat. Please protect them.
They had to cross this river, but there were too many persons in one boat. So thereby capsizing of the boats. We have to recover lots of dead bodies.
Since February 2022, thousands of Rohingya refugee children have taken life-threatening boat journeys from Bangladesh to Myanmar. 2025 must not be yet another year of despair for Rohingya refugees. Spoiler alert, it's 2026 now. It has been another year of despair for Rohingya refugees. Has it shown any of the genocidal Buddhist monks and Facebook yet? We started off with Wiratu.
Really hit the heart was when a Rohingya boat arrived in Indonesia and an anti-Rohingya group pushed the boat away. And a young mum that was on this boat, super young, early 20s, with 2 children, managed to come back, and one of her child died from starvation. And you know how she buried her child? She had to throw her child in the ocean.
There is no hell hot enough for the Tatmadaw.
At one point during the time that there was a campaign to push Rohingya back, and this was right.
This is the person that we've interviewed, Yasminullah. We've interviewed her on the program. Fantastic resource. I'm proud to call her a comrade of mine. Incredible human being.
Right after the attempted coup, and there was a poster made by the Malaysian Navy, if I'm not mistaken, and it was about...
Man, the general global populace is hella f***ing stupid. They fall for the same playbook in every single country. Immigrants are the problem, refugees are the problem, etc., etc. Because every single major ethnic group in every single country, every single privileged ethnic group and every single privileged demographic in every country, they feel like they're uniquely right about every single situation. And that people outside of their country would never fully understand the specific intricacies of the politics of their country that make them have those xenophobic, genocidal opinions. That's how every country works, right? You ask any Pakistani nationalist about Balochistan, they'll say the same thing. You don't understand anything about what kind of terrorism we've been dealing with. Indians will say the same thing with when Kashmir is mentioned. You don't know what you're talking about. Bangladeshis will say the same thing about Chittagong Hill Tracks. Well, you don't understand what you're talking about. You don't understand what we have to deal with. God forbid we mention Sri Lankans here. A particular streamer talks about the universality of hogdom. Hogs are a universal phenomenon. The reason that hogs exist in the first place is because their privileges are being challenged. Their class position in society is being challenged. Their overall class position is being challenged by ethnic minorities in a lot of cases. So when we talk about anti-Indian, anti-Tamil racism in Malaysia, it's because the class position of a lot of Malays is being challenged by these estate workers, by these Tamil estate workers, many of them who come from very marginalized backgrounds. Again, the reason I talk about is statecraft and the usage of statecraft in weaponizing a majority against a minority. There's a reason you see it everywhere. It's because that strategy of weaponizing grievances against minorities to distract from class issues, that's a universal phenomenon. It's a tactic that just works. Malaysia is also complicit in the Tamil genocide. You understand, like not directly, but they arrested people for showing Sri Lanka's killing fields. They arrested human rights activists because Sri Lanka asked them to for showing Sri Lanka's killing fields. I don't know how you feel about this, but for me, there are parallels with Lanka here because before this current timeline, there was a leftist socialist government that was just as genocidal to a wide range of ethnic minorities. No, that's how all leftists work. I mean, that's how a lot of leftist parties work. That's the reality that a lot of people don't want to contend with. Ironically, I mean, Lenin in State and Revolution, Lenin talks about how a lot of people that call themselves Marxists are really social chauvinists. And that's true. I don't agree with Lenin on a lot, but I agree with him here. Funny thing is, lots of Marxist Leninist parties are social chauvinists. Yeah, and then everyone that came after him basically just ignored that portion and just said, all right, whatever, we'll be sock Dems. We'll be social democrats with a communist flag and then also be racist or casteist in India's case. I mean, that's why I don't take any stock in what communist parties have to say, because like a lot of them excuse away their social chauvinism through class politics or by saying, oh no, you don't understand. We're actually engaging in class warfare. You wouldn't understand. We're actually fighting the bourgeois reactionary elements of our society by fighting minorities, by fighting ethnically oppressed people.
Moving Rohingya back.
If you want an example of how much of a joke communism is in the global south, or like how much the communist movement has degraded in the global south, Myanmar, this very country, has a party that proclaims to be communist while regurgitating Ayn Rand talking points. We have ANCAP Marxist-Leninists in Myanmar. I'm memeing a little bit here, but not by much. But you have communists in Myanmar that are unironically advocating for less government, for reducing big government by firing people. That's a real party. We will, Jahangir Alam Chowdhury, Bangladesh Home Affairs Advisor, Lieutenant General, we will no longer allow any more Rohingya to enter under any circumstances. Bangladesh for this shit too. F you. We also have made it clear to UNHCR it is not possible for us. Mohammed Tawheed Hossain, Bangladesh Foreign Advisor, September 8th, 2024, press conference. Class consciousness is important though. We both agree that class consciousness is important. The way you achieve class consciousness is not by shutting every single argument or every single conversation about ethnic autonomy down and saying you're a bourgeois reactionary.
They've been doing a lot of nonsense things like demanding better food and shelter. They shouldn't have done that.
Here we go. We got Malays being racist towards Rohingya or Indonesians. I don't know which one it is.
They weren't invited here anyway.
What we are seeing is that so many of these different hate campaigns in the region will
How dare refugees demand food and shelter?
eventually result into less trust and less social cohesion overall. Because if Rohingya were all destroyed, there's no guarantee who next.
How dare refugees live? Yeah, that's the perspective of right-wing Indonesians and Malaysians.
It's one boat after another. How many boats have come here already? We are poor people. Why don't you use the money to help us? Why are they giving them?
Okay, this is, I mean, we've been talking about how every country, the universality of tricking people into believing hog nonsense, right? Right-wing nationalist nonsense. This is a great example of how works. Indonesia is a very deeply I don't know if this is Indonesia or Malaysia, but this applies to both of them. Indonesia and Malaysia are deeply neoliberal governments that do not provide for the poor in their own country. And they're also not providing that much for Rohingya refugees. And so instead of actually addressing the income inequality problem, or the wealth equality problem, or the wealth distribution problem in both of these countries, now, because of the inadequacy and the failure of the governments to actually have robust social safety nets for the poor, you now have an angry population that is trying to take it out on people that are of the same class position as them. Rohingya refugees. They're of the same class position as these guys. You've now successfully created a divide between two groups of people that have common cause to unite. This is the universality of right-wing nationalism. It protects bourgeois interests.
How many boats have come here already? We are poor people. Why don't you use the money to help us? Why are they giving them?
The Aceh government's been trying to provide temporary
shelter,
but in many places that we're thinking of putting them, the local people rejected them, so we're asking for them to be taken out of Aceh.
Footage showed the students, who were calling for the refugees to be deported, running into the building's basement. The Muslim minority group has faced decades of persecution and abuse in Buddhist-majority Myanmar, prompting many to flee in boats.
Deportasi di luar Aceh, maka kami pastikan dan saya yakinkan mahasiswa akan hadir berlipat ganda dalam melawan kebijakan pemerintah.
The UNHCR said it was deeply disturbed to see a mob attack on a site sheltering vulnerable refugee families and called for better protection.
Indonesia have been known as a country with biggest Muslim society, and Rohingya is also our brothers and sisters, but the fact that we treated them that way, it's very disappointing.
And we could see that the poster, the campaigns, the Acehese people actually told me that these are not written by the Acehese. So there must be something, right?
Who benefits from the hate speech? Clearly, the junta and its allies, and politicians in Indonesia, Malaysia, and India and neighboring countries. Media have already observed that the hate speech against Rohingya in Indonesia and Malaysia had very strong political motivations.
Stop coming to Malaysia or something will happen to you, same how like Myanmar do to you. They're not refugees, okay, friends. They are illegal intruders. Half of these motherfuckers will also have Palestine flags in their bios, by the way, if not all of them. They will have a Palestine flag in their bio without fail. They'll say free Palestine. May Al-Aqsa be free from the Zionist entity occupation. May Palestine be free one day. They will chant that shit up and down. But when it comes to Rohingya, they'll be like, get the fuck out of my country. We'll do the same to you that Myanmar did to you. Insane hypocrites. Monsters. R. Raman Ramaswamy. Pora bunda. Lusukudi spell panna kuda theriyada. தெரியாதா உனக்கு? For your information, they are very productive at making babies. Drama Rohingya.
I'm noticing that as I'm starting to, come back to Southeast Asia, it's not personal attacks, but they would be just general things that people have said. About Rohingya themselves, and
trace every Bangladeshi and Rohingya and build a concentration camp for these f***ers. We can't tolerate these parasites on our land. Deport them to their whole country where they belong as early as possible. Also put these racketeers behind bars, says Sanyam Sharma. Of course, a Sharma ji. Hindu Sher says this, of course.
Even online, especially on our social media, whenever we post pictures, they would make very silly.
Why are they still breeding
derogatory
at such situations?
And
starting to realize your life, guys. Don't have children too much like rabbits, animals. That caused you don't have enough food or even no food. Then you guys run away to my country and become shit and burdens for us. Instead of trying to be pitied or making drama, do better things. Don't just keep breeding kids. It will not help you.
Was extremely viral and shocking was when UNHCR posted a video of me, and I explained to the audience that Rohingya want to go back home, we want to see our ancestral homeland, and that we want a safe repatriation back to Burma, Myanmar. And when I clicked on the video and I opened the comments section,
greatest Arakan, there are no Rohingya on this planet. You are Bengali Muslims. Rohingya civilians, ha 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 ha. And they were not Buddhist terrorists, it was the government. And if Hezbollah isn't terrorists, right, shame on you. If you see polluting the world, oh my God, man. They are not innocent. They killed more than 200 Hindu. Good job, Myanmar army. By the way, they say this about Sri Lanka too. Hindu nationalists also say the same about Sri Lanka's war crimes, for the record. Yeah, Indonesians and Malays are using the West stereotypes about Muslims against Rohingya. Indonesia is in many ways spiritually American. Malaysia is very spiritually British. Yes, the Jakarta method did its f***ing work. America successfully put down potential communist revolution in Indonesia. America engaged in one of the largest acts of politicide, killing of those with a particular political belief in history. I think it was roughly 500,000 communists they killed in Indonesia. And that is why Indonesia is a cuck to the United States.
Instagram post, UNHCR Asia, and the comments were hate speech. Majority of it was hate speech.
They have no job, no place to live, but their hobby is making children. What creatures are they? Dude, this is insane.
Saying all sorts of different things, saying Rohingya should go back home.
What a burden. Can we let them die at sea? Indonesia is not a country for people who don't know thank you plus attitude.
Rohingya should not be in Malaysia. Rohingya should not be in Indonesia.
No excuse. Rohingya are not pensioners. Why in Tampung should expel all ships that carry Rohingya people. Do not let them dock in the harbor or on the beach.
And some were in English.
Because in Aceh there is the largest natural gas.
Malayu.
Reject Rohingya. Don't let the fate of our country be like Palestine. I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it. They're calling Rohingya Zionists. Indonesians and Malaysians are calling Rohingya Zionists. I thought I've seen stupid. No, the DP is a girl with a hijab in front of the mosque. No, not just any mosque, my friend. That is Al-Aqsa Mosque. You think you've seen the worst that humanity has to offer, and then somehow you just get surprised. I know Indians are hella racist towards Rohingyas, but Indonesians too, damn. And to this level, it's just disgusting. Indonesians and Malaysians, insanely racist. Dude, saying that Rohingya are like Zionists, it is not only one of the most insanely revisionist perspectives I've ever seen in my life, right? Because first off, Rohingya were chased out of their homeland. If there's one group of people that probably has the most in common with Palestinians in this entire dynamic, it's Rohingya people. Rohingya people have the most in common with the Palestinians right now. They're a diaspora population that were forced out of their country. It's madness. No right-winger of any country wants to make themselves look bad. They don't want to be the bad guys. No one ever wants to admit that they're a fucking piece of shit, because it means it's a holy reckoning for your soul to admit that you are a bad person and that you need to fix yourself. It's the same dynamic as calling Elam Tummels as imperialist and Zionist as well, by the way. Elam Tummels also get called a Zionist. It means that you have to look internally, and no one ever wants to do that. No one ever wants to admit that they're at fault here. So they will rationalize their hatred by saying, no, you don't understand. They're like this other bad group. They're actually just like the Zionists. No, you don't understand. The Palestinians are just like the Nazis. You don't understand. Tamils are a right-wing Nazi, Nazi group of people that want to steal land from us, the poor Sinhalese. It's an attempt to rationalize the hate. And on top of that, it's playing on people's already existing biases. It's an attempt to play on people's, this feels like they're trying to tell other Muslims that no, the Rohingya don't listen to their concerns at all. They're just like the Zionists. This is a tactic in debate called poisoning the well. You are trying to basically already poison the context so that when people start drinking from the well, they already have really bad biases. It's not just brain damage. No, this is a very pernicious tactic that a lot of people engage in. It's called poisoning the well. They're specifically trying to make sure that when people talk about Rohingya people, they're already primed with the idea that they're actually Zionists. And they're actually invaders, that they're colonists, and they're here to take indigenous Indonesian land. I don't mean to excuse them as being dumb. No, I'm not saying that you are. I'm just saying that there's way more logic to that than you're letting on.
Level of hate, the negativity that surrounds anything. But again, these are the dangers of social media, because there's censorship that doesn't really exist, and individuals are free to write and read and think however they want.
I asked some Buddhist friends, why are you hate Muslim? They didn't say. It means that no reason they hate Muslim or Rohingya, no reason. It means that they manipulate and propaganda is for a long time.
I would say it's a politically motivated move, and even the claim was also backed by different public officials when they said that the Rohingya came to Aceh were not refugee, but there's like third or second degree of refugee because they came from Cox's Bazar, or there was seemingly indications of their victim of public trafficking, and it just based on biased and I would say xenophobic comments that they made.
The sad thing is that ultra-nationalist politicians have actually fanned the hate speech campaign to fan and intensify hate and fear amongst the population in order to get votes. But after the election, the hate still lives on and justifies more hate speech, more discrimination, more persecution.
I think the simplest answer is that the perpetrators, whether it be the junta or the enabling governments in the Asia-Pacific region, especially Southeast Asia, all of them just want to get rid of the Rohingya in different ways. For the junta, it's probably destruction of the entire community so that no one can come back to claim the land, the culture, or reclaim our identity back where we belong in Burma.
Why are the signs in Russian?
Where we belong.
Oh my God. Oh my God. They're in Ingushetia.
Back.
The Ingushetia flag right there.
Where we belong in Burma, Myanmar.
So what we are seeing that's happening in the region, including in Malaysia and Indonesia, is Indonesian and Malaysian people
There's a Rohingya diaspora population in Ingushetia. What? Dude, the amount of destruction that the Myanmar government has engaged in against the Rohingya people, that the Tatmadaw has engaged in, they'll pay for this. Which is all to say that this is all made by design by the British officers creating abstract borders as all of these other crises. Yes, ultimately, you can trace this back to the British, yes. The British and the Japanese in this case, because the Japanese did invade Myanmar as well.
prolonging the genocide, intensifying the impact of the genocide on the Rohingya.
Assalamualaikum, para Rohingya.
Okay, this is I think one of the coolest things about the Rohingya community. You'll notice that's not actually Arabic. It looks like it's Arabic. And that's because the letters are inspired by the Arabic script. This is not Arabic. This is a script very specifically designed for the Rohingya language.
$200 বা $250 তখন আমার কাজ করার ইয়ে হচ্ছে যে $500 কিন্তু আমি কাজ করার মতো শ্রমজীবী কোনো কাজে আমি পাচ্ছি না
তাদের খরচ নাই তারা যদি $100 পায় তাও তারা তাদের সাফিসিয়েন্ট রোহিঙ্গাদেরকে তো অবশ্যই ফেরত দিতে হবে
মানে আমাদের নৈতিক প্রয়োজনীয় দাম দ্বিগুণ হারে মানে কি চুরি ডাকাতি রাহাজানি বেড়ে যাচ্ছে যার ফলে মানে
We reject the Rohingyas. We want them to be moved as soon as possible. We don't want to catch the diseases they carry.
These are Bengalis.
I would be treated differently based on my color. And I remember I used to...
This is Cox's Bazaar, yeah.
I was told to go back to my...
This is Bangladesh. This is Cox's Bazaar, Bangladesh.
Whole country, wherever I came from, but then I realized like I was born here, it's like where do I go back?
When I was on a taxi going to and from somewhere in Penang, where I got onto a taxi and the taxi driver obviously started to speak to me in Malay, and I said, I'm sorry, I don't speak Malay. And he's like, well, where are you from? And I started to speak English, and of course, we had some exchange. And I said, oh, I'm actually a Rohingya, but I am based in Vancouver, I'm in Canada. And he was like, what? Rohingya? But you're light skin.
I'll say one thing. Colorism doesn't exist in isolation. Colorism is almost always it's racism. It's racism. It's what it is. It's racism. It's anti-blackness. That's what it is. President Xi, please liberate us from fair and lovely. Well, got bad news for you because China is also involved in the Rohingya genocide too. Both America and China are also responsible for this.
And some other times he was like, but you're pretty. Like, why are you Rohingya?
Oh, that's so gross.
But you're light skin. And some other times he was like, but you're pretty. Like, why are you Rohingya?
This hate speech is copied from Burma, Myanmar, calling us too black, describing us as animals, as thorns, describing us as dehumanizing us in whatever possible way as possible. We've seen this hate speech spiralize in Malaysia and Indonesia specifically.
And this is what I call the lack of political will. So if there is a will, right, then there will be a way to address and to come up with a solution for and to counter each of the narrative. And again, it should not be rumor-based. It should be fact-based.
In 2024, Malaysian authorities carried out 18,163 raids on illegal migrants, which is 79% more than 2023 UNHCR. During January 2023, June 2024, Malaysia deported 12,679 people to Burma. So they sent them to their deaths, basically. They sent 13,000 people to their deaths. As of June 2024, there were 4,879 people from Burma in detention in Malaysia. Many of them were women and children.
For example, in Malaysia, we rely a lot on foreign workers. So the question is, why do we bring in workers from outside? While at the same time, we are not providing the Rohingya who are already in Malaysia the opportunity to work.
ASEAN has a critical responsibility to address the Rohingya crisis and stop the ongoing second wave of genocide. ASEAN will never do such a thing. They want good ties with Myanmar.
We need to create awareness among Malaysians that this is something that is very serious. No, they are not going to take away our job. They are not going to take away our land or our territory. They are here as a temporary measure.
I think that one of the best ways to combat the hate speech against the Rohingya people is to show who Rohingya people truly are, especially who Rohingya women are, and show them that we are not who the media portrays us to be. And, you know, just share more of the Rohingya culture and traditions, you know, especially our food, our dressing, and our, you know, just like traditional practices and just...
Are any of the groups in the civil war in Myanmar on the side of Rohingya? No, all of them are anti-Rohingya. All of them are. The Arakan army have straight up killed Rohingya people too. And they've also come out on the record saying that Rohingya people do not exist. No, the junta has conscripted, the Tatmadaw has conscripted Rohingya people to be used as foot soldiers, like disposable foot soldiers for the junta. And then the Arakan army who opposes the Tatmadaw. The Tatmadaw is the Burmese army, right? The military junta army, right? The Arakan army, who are the local Arakan state paramilitary, they have come out on the record saying Rohingya people don't exist and therefore, you know, kill them. So no, there's not a single group of people that is actually pro-Rohingya. What's the China-supported group in the north? I don't think China is I could be wrong. I don't know if China is specifically supporting any. I think China is backing the junta. I don't think they're backing any paramilitaries. It's not a part of China's foreign policy to take risks by supporting militant groups. They're backing both? You know, I don't know about that. I didn't know. What about Burmese Muslims? Is it kind of Indian Muslims when it comes to Kashmir? Yeah, very similar dynamic. Yes. It's kind of like a self-preservation sort of thing. As long as I can throw the Rohingya people under the bus, I might be safe. But actually, no, not really. We're not safe either. They may be backed Kachin group. I'm pretty sure China sends aid to an anti-Rohingya militia. Oh, lovely. Nice. So yes. Okay, got it. It might be Kachin group. You might be right. Kachin Independence Army. It might be this. What about ethnic minorities? No. Karen are also anti-Rohingya. Mon people are also anti-Rohingya. Karen people, Kachin people, Shan people, all anti-Rohingya. Because again, they're ethnic minorities, but they're all Buddhist. Buddhism, 64%. So no support from any group inside Myanmar. No. There are attempts to get Burmese communists, mainly outside of Burma itself, to support the Rohingya people. But even then, like, the support is like, it's not really going anywhere.
Show them that, you know, we have such a beautiful culture and we had a beautiful homeland that we were forced to leave. So, and we would like to go back to rebuild our community.
Have you ever heard about Rohingya refugees?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you think about them?
I think they should not come to Malaysia.
Yeah, why?
Because we have our own people. So they should stay at their country. I don't think that they should at all come to Malaysia.
Since you talked about Rohingya, have you? What do you think about Rohingya? What do you think about Rohingya in general?
I feel sorry for them because like there's not much country that accept them, so they had to like find somewhere, and I think Malaysia can.
I've never heard of Kony. What? I don't know who these guys are. Oh man, okay. I don't know much about this guy. He was a Muslim lawyer that helped Suu Kyi. Yeah, but my guess is it doesn't matter that he's Muslim. I'm assuming he might also be anti-Rohingya. Again, there are other Muslim ethnic groups in Myanmar that originally threw Rohingya under the bus, but the anti-Rohingya hate spiraled into anti-Muslim hate in general, and it started affecting these guys. The other, like the Kamen people. I don't know. I would have to ask Chad Rohingya about that, or I'd have to ask Yasmin about Kony, about her opinion of Kony.
Is there any other reason why? Have you ever like come across a Rohingya before? Have you ever interacted with Rohingya before?
Never, but I had a lot of news about them. They do kind of not good things in Malaysia.
I personally feel quite sad with the state that they are refugees.
Yeah.
And I hope there is a solution for them, how to solve with the current ongoing issues in their country, because I know it must be hard for them. Okay.
You probably haven't met a Rohingya, but I think you're meeting one now.
Yeah.
I'm a Rohingya.
I see.
So have you ever met a Rohingya before? Never? Never. So then you don't know. I'm a Rohingya. I was born in Arakan State. We left when I was 3 because our village were persecuted so badly.
Okay.
The villages were burnt down. My mom had to flee, taking me as a 3-year-old.
I see.
We fled to Thailand. I wasn't raised here, but she was raised here in Malaysia.
Building understanding with the society between Rohingya and Malaysian society, or Indonesia and Indonesia society, and also building social cohesion.
Holy shit. Yeah, man. She has to. If that's your life story, that's what it is. You can't do anything about it. You just have to learn to deal with it. She's working with the cards that she's been dealt, and she's doing an incredible job of it. Again, that's why I'm incredibly proud to call her a friend and a comrade. I cannot shout her out enough. I cannot shout that organization, the Rohingya Women's Collaborative, enough.
Which is really important for us to really stop this hate speech. It doesn't really start with us just going there and then asking for help. It start with the person in the front too.
They do not talk about the Hindu minority here because
he's willing to help, who's willing to make this a change. So we will continue to build understanding between the society, and so the hate speech can less and our people can live in peace.
Incredible documentary. Incredible. Please share this with your friends. Please talk about not just the Elam Tamil genocide. Please share this with people. Talk about because Rohingya people are still refugees. They're still just living. They're trying to survive right now. Please. Incredibly good work that Alt Scene Burma are doing right now. Incredible work that the Rohingya Women's Collective are doing right now. Go support them as well. We will, like I said to Yasmin when I interviewed her, I was like, we'll always have your back. Tamils will always have your back. And all of us leftists will always have your back. This is an insanely underrepresented crisis. Yeah, because again, unlike Palestine, where it's the geopolitical configuration, that is to say, who supports Israel, who supports Palestine, it's very cut and dry. The West supports Israel, the Global South supports Palestine. In this particular instance, everyone's a bad guy here, right? Every country in the region supports Myanmar, basically. And also, both the US and China support Myanmar. The Indian government also supports Myanmar.